All right, let's talk about this first FRQ. It's on rotation. In an experiment, when students release a disk of mass m and radius of r from let's say the top of a ram that makes an angle theta with the horizontal. Disk rolls without slipping. Um, that's a very important information. As shown in Figure 1, the rotational ratio of the disk is half mr square, and the friction force exerted on the disk is Ff. On the diagram, figure 2, draw and label arrows that represent the forces, not components, that are exerted on the disk as it rolls down the ramp, which is indicated by the dashed line. Each force in the diagram must be represented by a distinct arrow at which the force is exerted on the disk. So we know that as soon as it is released, its velocity is going to increase, right? Because of what? Because of mg sine theta. This mg sine theta is going to act here. And since this is not slipping, it must roll or rotate in this direction, right? Because that is the condition of pure rolling, right? That V and omega r are equal. So that at the bottom, the V is forward of the center of mass and omega r will be pointing backwards in this case if it is rotating in this fashion. I'm telling you this information because it's helpful to denote the direction of the friction in this case. So in inclined plane, whenever an object is released, friction has to act in this direction. So friction is going to act, and this is the point of contact, and it will act backward over here. Then we have a normal reaction. A normal also acts at the point of contact, so over here, something like this. And mg is going to act at the center of mass, which is over here. And this is going to look downwards, as I can denote it as fg, or probably I can say mg as well. Both are okay. The mass is capital M, sorry, capital M times g. So that's how we represent the FPD. The next one talks about starting with Newton's second law in the rotational form. In the rotational form, derive an expression for the net torque exerted on the disk in terms of all these quantities. Begin your derivation by writing a fundamental physics principle on an equation from the reference book. Now, it's very important to understand that since it is rotating to the right side, I think I already mentioned that that is the reason why friction is acting backward, because it is the force that is the only force that can provide the torque, right? Because this cannot provide torque, normal reaction, because it is 90 degree to the motion, or rather it is just acting. The displacement is over here and this is 90, so it cannot really offer any torque. Mg cannot really offer any torque for the same reason, because it is acting at the center of mass. So once again, R is 0. So only friction is able to provide the torque, and hence the rotational tendency will be like this. You don't have to show this on FBD, but yeah, it is like this. Okay. Now, since they're talking about Newton's second law in rotational form, I'm going to say, what is the Newton's second law in rotational form, by the way? Just like the translational form is F is equal to ma, so rotational form is torque equal to I alpha, right? Determine an equation for the net torque exerted. And like I said, the only torque exerted is actually the friction. Okay. Now, since this torque is only because of friction, and friction is Rf sine theta, right? So I'm going to write r, which is the radius, that is capital R, is small, the friction Ff times sine of theta. And remember that between the friction and the displacement, between the radius and the friction, the angle is 90, and this is equal to I alpha. So this becomes, I think, R times Ff, because sine 90 is anyway 1, and that's equal to half mr square times alpha. So R and R is gone. So I have 2 times FF by multiplying 2 both the sides and dividing by MR both the sides. That's the alpha. And this alpha I'm going to sub in over here to find the torque, because that's what they need after all, net torque. So the net torque is going to be tau net is I alpha, where I is half mr square and alpha is 2 times force of friction over mr. So this 2 and 2 is gone, m and m is gone, and r is gone. So I have F of friction times R. That will be the net torque over here, which is pretty much the same thing. I already got RF as the net torque over here, but for some reason they wanted me to start with this Newton's law in rotational form and eventually find alpha and then plug that back in to find the torque. Anyway, so that will be the net torque in terms of FF and R. There are no theta and M involved over here. Then they are asking us to start with Newton's second law and derive an expression for the net force exerted. So the net force exerted will, of course, be, we need to make components over here, right? So I'm going to do that. Let me make the components over here. So this is the disk. We know that this is going to be mg sine theta, providing the acceleration. This will be countered by the normal reaction. Normal reaction is, of course, acting from here. Normal reaction. This is mg cosine of theta, and then we have a friction force that is acting backward. So these two are the required forces, right? And let me denote friction with FF. These are the forces that are responsible for the linear acceleration, or the Newton's second law in translational form. So I'm going to say that g sine theta mg sine theta minus force of friction is equal to ma, right? Because they are asking us to start with Newton's second law, and Newton's second law says that sum of all the forces is equal to mass times acceleration. We are supposed to find the net force. Okay, so the net force is actually indeed equal to this thing, right? This is the net force after all. Do we know the friction already? Do we know the coefficient of friction? No, we don't know. So we need to find the friction force, and I think we already have the friction force, right? The friction force from here is just from here in terms of, I'm sorry, friction force is just FF. So I can just say that mg sine theta minus FF is the required net force acting on the disk, and this will be F net. So I think that's our answer, right? I'm going to just say that sum of all the forces is going to be mg sine theta, and FF is also given to us, so I'll just box this in. All right. Try an expression for the linear acceleration of the center of mass of the disk. Express your answer in terms of this. Da, da, da. Okay, now I can say that sum of all the forces is mass times acceleration. But remember that the friction force should not be a part of our answer. All right, that's fine. MA is equal to mg sine theta minus FF. That's what we have over here. And if we, since we are trying to eliminate this FF over here, we're going to go back and borrow this equation. So from here, if we decorate this a little bit, 2 times FF multiplying MR both the sides, it will be alpha times M times R. So FF will be equal to alpha capital M R over 2. You might be thinking that you're eliminating FF, but you're introducing another variable alpha, which is also not allowed. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely right. And we will eliminate alpha just in a minute. So I'm going to replace this. Um, I'm going to replace this FF, which is alpha MR over 2, alpha MR over 2. M and M is gone. And we have now a relationship that alpha is nothing but A over R. That is a relationship between alpha and R. So all we are supposed to do now is just replace this alpha with A over R. So this equation is going to look like A will be equal to G sine theta minus alpha is A over R. So A over R times R over 2. That's what we have. Because alpha is replaced with A over R and R over 2 just remains as it is. So R and R is gone. We are left with A is equal to G sine theta minus A over 2. Adding A over 2 both the sides, I will get 3 over 2A is equal to G sine theta. So the acceleration will be 2/3 of G sine theta. 2/3 of G sine theta. And that is indeed our final answer for this part. Finally, over here, in the last question, they have another experiment in which a block of ice rests on this inclined plane, and this is frictionless now, and it is also released. If the disk initially was taking T disk to come down, and if this is taking T block to come down, T is the time. So we need to compare these. So I think that would be pretty easy now because we already got this acceleration, right? The linear acceleration is 2/3 of g sine theta. And we very well know that this acceleration will just be g sine theta because there is no other friction force or anything involved over here. So if we use the equations of motion, we know that this has to be L and L for both the cases because this is identical. So if we use the second equation of motion, that L is equal to the second equation of motion is change of x is equal to v initial times t plus half at square, correct? Initially it is released, so that's 0, half a t square. Multiplying 2 both the sides, 2 delta x is at square, dividing by a both the sides, so 2 delta x over a is t square. In other words, t is the square root of 2 delta x over a. Now delta x in our case is just L, so it's clear that if the acceleration is less, time taken will be more, correct? So since this is accelerating with a lesser magnitude, because this is 2/3 of g sine theta and this is g sine theta, so time taken by the disk has to be more than the time taken by the block. That should be our final.